You can't just open a business overnight. This whole call is not about everything happening just a blink of an eye. Yes, it happened for 3 months, but I put in so much work.
So many people watch these interviews and they think that it's never going to happen for them. But when you invest in the right program and the right mentor, I think you can take your business way farther than you had ever anticipated, especially doing it by yourself.
Being where I am now, I never thought that I would want to see my business go full time. It was never that. It was a side hustle. It was a hobby turned into a side hustle. Now I am aiming for full time because I see the light. It's possible. People tell me that I glow when I talk about my business. I know exactly what it feels like to not have the confidence. If I can do it, you can do it, but that feeling's never gonna go away. We're gonna continue to fight it. Always.
How do you transform a calligraphy business from a modest $5,000 in a year to a whopping $15,000 in just 3 months? It sounds impossible, right? I'm actually here to tell you that it is 100% possible because we have a Craft Academy member who did exactly that. I'm so excited to introduce Leslie from Blissful Calligraphy, who prior to the Craft Academy, she was working with budget brides, making simple signage, to now working for amazing brands like MLB, Seattle Krakens, and Maison Francis, just to name a few. In addition to that, she's also broken into the conference industry in Seattle, and she's taking Seattle by storm. What's up, beautiful bosses? My name is Rosie. I'm a former pharmacist turned full-time six-figure calligrapher and calligraphy business coach. I have helped over 150 calligraphers build, automate, and scale their unique businesses based on their unique skill set, location, and story. Ever since I started my business in 2017, I have made countless mistakes and wasted so much time, money, and anxiety trying to build a business from scratch on my own. After finally transforming my business from frustrated into flourishing with intention, I took the methodology and created the Craft Academy to help calligraphy business owners just like you. So if you haven't subscribed already, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button along with the bell so that you don't miss any new videos coming up. So Leslie, welcome. I'm so excited to tell everyone about your story today.
Yeah, I'm really excited as well. I really started this back in 2018, and I started with a simple Tombow pen. Like everyone who wants to learn calligraphy, that's the first thing you go to is a brush pen. And so I was just doodling. I look back at my calligraphy notes. Horrible. But from then, local wedding dress shop actually asked me to do a say yes to the dress sign for her, and that's how my business blossomed. After that, inquiries just kept coming in for signage.
I love that, and I love it that it started off with just a simple Tombow brush pen, and I feel like everyone starts with horrible writing because no one really knows how to use a brush pen. It's just not as intuitive as you think. Like I look back on my stuff too and I'm like, why would anyone buy anything from me? Like this was terrible.
I have no flow. No curves, just all straight lines.
Yeah, exactly. So that's amazing. So it started off with creating I said yes to the dress sign for a wedding company. How did that start to blossom into the business that you had before you joined TCA?
So like you said, I was doing signage for budget brides. So I didn't really know what I was doing in terms of pricing. I kind of was just excited people wanted stuff from me. You get excited, you get squirrely, you want to do everything that everyone has asked you to do. Before TCA, I was just whipping out, oh yeah, $75 sounds good. Thinking back on that, it's not good. I didn't profit, and I just thought this was for fun, and it was just a little bit of side money from what I was spending to what I was, creating. I wasn't making much.
Mm-hmm. Did you feel like you had a specialty at that time?
I just did wedding signage. Yeah, I didn't really know what I wanted, and I would get different requests. So oh, could you write on this frame, or could you make an acrylic? I'm like, yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, so you were just saying yes to whatever opportunities came your way.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally fair. And I remember those days as well. When did you decide to join the Craft Academy and why?
So I actually joined a year ago, probably a year and a week ago. And honestly, I don't know, I was following you and I was just so inspired by you working for Ferrari and Dior. I was like, that is so cool. I wanted to learn engraving, and that's kind of just where I told you I have squirrel syndrome, and there was just something about the engraving that really lit a fire in me. And I was like, I want to learn that, and I want to be where she is. And like I watched interviews of other people in the craft academy. I was like, I need to do this. Like I am not happy in my job. You know, I really want just to be happy in my business and make other people happy. My business is called Blissful Calligraphy because I want to spread bliss, like the feeling of bliss when people receive what they get, you know? So yeah, I joined the Craft Academy in August last year and I don't regret it, like not looking back.
Yes, love that. I remember in our first initial call, you were still in school, but you also had a job, right? I remember you saying in that time frame that you were holding yourself back kind of on purpose because you had other priorities, but that also meant you weren't really putting in the necessary energy to grow your business in an intentional way.
I did finish school in May, thank the Lord. But yeah, I'm still a full-time job right now and we'll get more into that, but I'm scaling back and focusing more on my business. And I'm so glad that like I have the time now to just do that.
Yeah. I mean, kudos to you for having a business during school and having a full-time job. So you joined in about August of 2022, but you had school until May. And that was when you started to put in way more energy, right?
So when I joined, I did the program and then I would just watch it like whenever I'm just like side working on something, and also like was working on my website, like little things, like very tiny things. And I wasn't rushing myself or anything. After school, like I'm all in. Graduated, I am ready. I was like, what am I going to use my degree for?
Yeah, exactly. Amazing. So I know you were kind of watching the program, kind of being a fly on the wall in our coaching calls and things like that up until May of this year. What was the thing that like got you to go all in 100% commitment? And why did you feel like you saw results so quickly after that?
So when I was working on like little things like my website or like a brand jack, I did those all back in fall, and I got an inquiry in April to do the Kraken, like engraving. And I was like, what? Wait. And I wasn't like ready for it. Like I was in a total whirlwind. After, you know, I actually secured that booking and did my first live event, which is like crazy to me because I didn't think I would do live events so soon, right when I was about to graduate. And then after that first event, like I just had the best feelings, you know, the feelings of nervousness and the feelings of excitement, and then that I want to do it again. So after that, I was like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that. And I love that it just shows like, if you just make a couple of changes intentionally in your business, it makes a huge transformation and you just never know where your business is going to take you. Why do you feel like that happened so quickly though? Like just making those small changes to your website, putting yourself out there on social media, like what was it, I guess, that really sparked that huge change for you?
That's a hard question. I think I already knew that, you know, I was graduating the beginning of May. So I already knew I was on a timeline and I had a plan. And whether that was finding a new job or with my new degree, or really finally diving into my business and getting engraving done. Because whenever I'm on these coaching calls, like I see the success of other members and I was like, I want that. And I've been wanting that. And I think the closer I got to my graduation date, the more excited I got and more like motivation I got to like really put in more work on my business and pitching and all of that.
Did you think that was possible for you?
I'm super big on like insecurity and like imposter syndrome. So I was like, this is gonna take me a while. And they're already established like people in Seattle, like there's no room for me. And like something that rings in my head that you always say is like, there's room for everyone. It's true. Like there's thousands, millions of people out there who can hire you. So like there's room for everyone. And I'm so glad that like I am where I am.
Yeah, I am so happy that you said that because we've got 12 other people who are listening in. And I just know that that phrase has gone through their heads at least once. Like, is there room for me here? Is there space for me to get into this market, whether or not there's calligraphy established in your area, or if there's a lot of competition for calligraphers in your area? That sentence will inevitably go through someone's head. And I love that you mentioned that because everyone thinks it at one point in their careers. So tell us, why is there room for you?
Why is there room for me? Because it's the damn thing. Well, is there room for me? You can't just open a business overnight. This whole call is not about everything happening just the blink of an eye. Yes, it happened for 3 months, but I put in so much work and like effort. So there's room for me because I know that like my true value like is worth something to someone, you know, not only worth something to me, but when I did the Krakens event, there's a lot of happy people and I loved giving that feeling to people and like excitement, and it's like reciprocated. It makes me happy, you know. And if I could do that, then other people who don't know about engraving, who don't really understand calligraphy, can learn.
Yeah, there's so many opportunities out there. And I feel like I say this all the time. The reason why I stress the website is so important is because there's so many opportunities, jobs, companies, promotional companies, marketing companies that are out there that you have never heard of, right? In your mind, you probably have a list of ideal clients, right? And those are the stores that you see at the mall every day. But there's so much more. That's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more underneath that. And when you have that website, people start to flock to you, which is exactly what happened when you started fixing your website and putting yourself out there.
It's really true because I just opened up the door to conferences. And some calligrapher friends like talk to me about like, I didn't even think about that, you know?
Exactly.
And
yep.
when I went to a mall, I went to an outdoor store who had, you know, hydro flasks. And I pitched to them and they were like, oh my God, yes, I want you for the holidays. Like you would never know. They're out there.
Exactly. Love that. Taking it back a little bit, why do you feel like this course was the course for you to invest in?
Just like this interview, I hope that brings, you know, some motivation to others and inspiration. I saw interviews with you and other members and I could see them blossom. And even I started the program with other people too, who started the same time around me, and I've seen their growth, you know. Being on the outside and seeing other people's growth was like amazing, you know. So I knew you just seemed so genuine and personable. It wasn't, I never got the this is too good to be true kind of thing. Your energy kind of just, you know, it spoke to me. And like so did everyone else's that you like interviewed. And I was like, I want to be in this and I want to really scale my business and be more than just signage. Like when someone needs something, like couple months, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I think so many people, you know, watch these interviews and they think that it's never going to happen for them, or that you're so much more established and I'll never get there. But when you invest in the right program and the right mentor, I think you can take your business farther, way farther than you had ever anticipated, especially doing it by yourself.
Yeah, and it's really nice to have someone who does the same thing and someone to talk to. Like there are 150 calligraphers I can bounce ideas off of. And that's amazing to me. And I know during like our calls, like some people are like super thankful that they have calligraphers, like a community, you know, and it's no gatekeeping in our community. Like we are down to help each other succeed. And that's like amazing to me because that's how things should be in the world. And the fact that I have this community behind me and like, is amazing. You can't put a price on it. Like I'm so happy for it.
Exactly. Yeah. There's so many different ways to like talk yourself out of, you know, pricing or pitching to someone or posting on social media. So when you have friends and colleagues who are in the same position as you, it forces you to put yourself out there just a little bit more.
Yeah. And when imposter syndrome is whispering in your ear, I have 150 calligraphers yelling at them for me.
I love that.
You know, like the devil and the angel.
Yeah. There's so many more angels than the single devils.
Pretty much.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. So in addition to the community, what are like the biggest changes that you've made since you started the program?
Since I've started the program, I have worked on my pricing. I have like presented myself in ways I never thought I would. I added luxury to my headline for my website, for my Instagram. I've definitely gotten practice in engraving. That's what I wanted, and I've niched down. So yes, I still do signage, but now I do signage in packages to where I am profiting and it's worth it for me. And I'm not just making $10. It may seem like I'm like established right now, but I'm still in the beginning. Everyone, like, if you're not in the craft county, like, you can be here. Like, trust me, I'm not like just saying this just to say it. Ask me where I was in like April. Wasn't great.
Yeah, but things have drastically changed for Leslie. You know, we talked about in the beginning that you were working with budget brides, charging who knows what, kind of just pulling numbers from thin air, but also looking at Etsy, which we've already kind of talked in the past. Etsy is the quickest way to the bottom, so it's not the best way to price yourself.
No, thank you.
Yeah, so I have a couple videos on YouTube about that. So if you want to learn more about the Etsy game, definitely take a look at the YouTube channel. Essentially, Leslie only made about $5,000 last year, primarily because she was working with budget brides. She didn't know how to price. She wasn't getting her ideal client. Tell us where you are now since you've made those changes.
Well, I have made close to $15,000 in just 3 months. That's insane to me. I actually did the math. So I took a break last year because I bought a house. In 2021, I actually only made like $3,000. Embarrassing. And I was like, oh my God, I don't even know if I actually made money in the, I think like $3,000. Yes, that's the deposit. But like, how much did I spend? On my website? You have to pay for your website to stay active and stuff like that.
Right. But in addition to like supplies, markers, acrylic is not cheap. So
the fact that I'm here in 5 figures already, I saw other people like, oh, I'm in a 5-figure group, and I was like, I want to be there. Being where I am now, I never thought that I would want to see my business go full time. It was never that. It was a side hustle. It was a hobby turned into a side hustle. Now I am aiming for full time because I see the light. It's possible.
I love that. And just the amount of growth that you've had in just this really short year, that's insane to me. And I think what's awesome about the Craft Academy is that it is a lifetime membership. So for the one-time investment, you're pretty much with us forever. And Leslie's story is exactly that. She joined about a year ago, but didn't actually apply the lessons until May of this year. And within just a couple of months, her business has exploded. And I think that speaks to the value of the Craft Academy, but also to Leslie's hard work and perseverance.
People tell me that I glow when I talk about my business, and I love that. I'm like, good. I want you to know how happy I am.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. I do remember you kind of dropped off on the coaching calls for a little bit, but earlier this year, you started coming really consistently, and that makes a huge difference in holding yourself accountable, having people hold you accountable, and really just discussing the things that you're actively working on. Right.
I did take that break, just to finish my senior year for school. And I was just like, all right, I got to step it back a little bit because I was getting a little overwhelmed. And even though I had TCA at the back of my mind, I already had a plan. I was like, I just got to get to May, graduate with my bachelor's, and that's when it's going to happen. And I held myself accountable to that because now I'm on mostly every call if I can make it. And honestly, even if I'm busy, I just listen, and I learn something new every single time. You would think that oh, you're not going to learn anything, everything. No one knows everything.
Exactly. Learning every single day. Actually, I wanted to bring up a really cool story because yesterday we had our coaching call, and Leslie, she actually spoke up about someone who wanted to pitch, and Leslie ended up giving advice on how to pitch and how to become confident and things like that. And it was just such a full circle moment for me because I was just sitting back and listening to how much she's grown and how much she's contributing back to the community. And for me, that's a wholesome, heartwarming moment for me because Leslie's literally doing my job. And I feel like if she can do it, that means I did my job right?
Yes, really. I have no idea how thankful I am for you. I was laughing at that coaching call. I was like, who the heck am I? I was normally I'd be hiding behind the sheets, okay, oh yeah, you could do it.
Yeah. I
was so proud of myself yesterday, and I was like, wow, who am I? Am I a coach? No. But just to be able to, like I said, this community is behind every, we support one another. And the fact that Rosie has supported me, that gives me the motivation to support others. So if someone had a question, and I had the experience, I would share that with them because I know exactly what it feels like to not have the confidence and not want to do something because it's scary. I definitely know it's always a feeling that I'm gonna have. I still feel that today, and like I just want you to know, like, we can do it. If I can do it, you can do it, but that feeling's never gonna go away. We're gonna have to continue to fight it always. But that's what we're here for.
Exactly. I like to say that the imposter syndrome and the awkward pricing muscle, like those are two things that will continue to challenge you in your business, and it never ever goes away. But it gets easier to handle. And with every new kind of income ceiling that you hit, you're going to continue feeling the same feelings. It's a matter of, how do I approach it this time? And the more often you get to it, the easier it becomes.
Most definitely. I just don't want people to come into this thinking that like this is gonna fix your problems quick. You have to put in the work.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we love doing with these interviews is providing tactical advice to anyone who is not in the program so that you still take away some learning lessons from us, even if you're not in the program yet. So, Leslie, what is your number one tactical advice if you could give it to someone?
Invest in yourself. Like, you can do it. And from someone who struggles with anxiety and depression, I know what it feels like to not feel good enough, to not feel like you're not gonna get there. Because trust me, I still feel that sometimes, you know? It doesn't go away. And if you just invest your time into Rosie and the Craft Academy, you'll definitely see a difference. Yes, there are 150 calligraphers in here, but there's room for you. These coaching goals, like, she lets everyone go. It's not like, oh, we don't have time for you. That's not what this is, you know? And if you don't have time, you can post, you know, on our secret group, like, you know? And I really think that like investing in yourself is the biggest thing you can do. That's your first step. Just knowing that, take it back, you can do this, and then dive in.
Yeah, exactly. Love that. So I know there's some big things happening in your business between working for conferences, amazing brands, MLB, the Krakens and all that. Amazing. A huge congratulations to you, Leslie, for achieving all of those in such a short period of time. Where are you going with your business now? Like, what's next for Blissful Calligraphy?
So, like I said, I'm scaling back with my full-time job. I'm going part-time, and the hope is to hopefully leave, you know, corporate and go into full-time. But I am actually releasing, hopefully by the end of the year, a photography content creation course for calligraphers. And we had a mastermind meetup where I got to meet Rosie and other calligraphers in person in Vegas. We had a talk about passive income, and I've never thought about passive income, like, ever. See, I'm still learning. So
yeah. So before, because I know where you're going with this, before we even get there, during the mastermind, I had everyone sit down and write in their notebooks their specific, unique ideas for passive income. Everyone pretty much had a blank page on that because for whatever reason, they're having trouble seeing that value in themselves. So what we actually did was we actually opened it up to the rest of the group, and every single person chimed in towards that person and gave them 3 to 5 different ideas that like they didn't even think about. And for Leslie, photography was one of them. Everyone said photography, photography, photography. And Leslie's like, really? You're right, I can do this. That's like the power of community, right? Like, people see your value stronger than you see it yourself.
Yeah, and like, that's always how it's going to be. People are seeing you in a different light than you see yourself. It's always going to be like that. I don't know why. I hope it could change. But like, it's nice to have like an outer perspective too. So when everyone told me, you know, photography, Rosie actually forced me to do a flat lay. Like, workshop, like a mini flat lay workshop. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah.
I see you.
Yeah.
I know your strengths.
And Sneak, I don't know if she's on this call, but girl, like, we took one of her products and she told me before we started, I don't know how to take a good picture of my product, my calligraphy. She had a luggage tag that she foiled. We just did a simple few steps and tips, and I had her take her own photo, and she was extremely surprised of like what came out, and like I was like, oh, I taught that. Yeah, that's what's next for me. I am working on an online course where we can also have a community to have feedback. I'm going to be an active teacher on showing you how you can really present your work on Instagram, on your website. That's next for me. I'm really excited to hopefully go full time and keep my income coming. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I totally see this as being super successful. What's amazing is that Leslie has that photography background, but she's also a calligrapher. That whole thing is going to be geared towards calligraphers, and photography, photos sell the product, right? If you don't have a good picture, you don't have a good product, because people won't know what to buy from you because you have a horrible photo. So I think this is going to make a huge change in the industry, and I'm super excited to support you throughout this entire process.
Yes, I'm so excited. And you helped Michelle launch her FBP. Shout out to Michelle, Juniper Calligraphy. I'm ready for that. I'm next. Me next, please.
Yeah, exactly. So excited for this to come to fruition for you, Leslie. I guess the last couple of questions that I have for you is, what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about investing in themselves?
What advice I would give to someone? I have a favorite quote, and it's called they don't know, but they will. So that's the thing. I definitely think that if you're thinking that oh, I'm not really gonna get anywhere, there's not a lot of people in my area who do this, that's because they don't know what you can do for them. Mm-hmm. What you have to invest in yourself to go present it to them and show them the value in your work, and also realize the value in yourself. That's something that I am working on, and my confidence boost has I'm not cocky or my confidence boost has definitely increased because I am a very insecure person. Investing in yourself gives you a confidence boost, and you can do it.
Love it. So the last question that I ask everyone, what would you tell yourself when you first started knowing what you know now?
Go follow Wandercrafter, set a call with Rosie, and just say yes. Honestly, I would tell myself, this is not what you want to do. This is not what you want to do in your business. You are not making anything. And it's kind of embarrassing, to look back. And you should really just invest in your coach and have someone help you, because yes, girl boss, you can do it yourself. Yes. But no one's had, I really wish I had this amount of support and advice and these calligraphers back then, because sometimes it feels like you're alone, and you don't have to be alone. You really don't. And yes, you can be successful, and having a little bit of help is not going to hinder your success.
Amazing. These are beautiful words of wisdom. Okay, so that brings our interview to an end. Leslie, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at blissful.calligraphy. And you can also find my website, blissfulcalligraphy.com, and in Seattle.
Thank you so much, Leslie, for coming on. So Leslie has been just an incredible force in the industry. She's taking Seattle by storm, which I absolutely love. It's been 12 really short months, but really it's just been 3 months of her actively working. And now she's been able to literally explode her business to work with MLB, Seattle Krakens, Burberry, and there's so much more coming down the pipeline. She's really pioneering the space up there, and I'm so excited for you. If you guys have not applied or heard about the Craft Academy yet, I do highly encourage you to check that out. You can go to my website, wandercrafter.com/Craft Academy, and then if you want, we can actually give you a complimentary coaching call. Just go to wandercrafter.com/apply. You can pick a time slot that works for you, and you'll talk to a real live human being. It'll be either me or someone on my team who's actually going to give you solid tactical advice for your specific stage in business. We love connecting with new calligraphers and inspiring other calligraphers to do the same for their own businesses in their unique areas. So definitely please feel free to book a call with us. We'd love to talk to you, want to connect with you as much as possible. Thank you all so much, and have a great day.
Thank you, Rosie. It was amazing today.